Well, yes, I did answer that first question very clearly in French. I said that we are not satisfied with announcements, and that's why we've triggered the infringement proceedings. I don't know how I could be clearer. And then on your second question, I'm very sorry, but you are asking a question, and it's up to us to decide what answer we give. If the porte-parole, the spokesman, tells you that the figures are available in a report and asks you to go and have a look at it, then that is the answer which we have for you on the podium today. Certainly you might not be happy with that and you could criticise us for that answer, but that is what we want to tell you today, and this has really got nothing to do with French or preparations. Thank you.
Yes, thanks. I would need a clarification, and then I would ask a question after the clarification, if possible. You are saying that the infringement against Malta and Cyprus is based on the fact that, they of course offer passports in exchange for an investment, but also and mostly because there is no genuine link between the investor and the country. Given that obviously these investors are not do not have relatives on the islands, I assume that the lack of genuine link to the country means that they do not spend any meaningful time on those islands. That's the reason why you are saying that they don't have genuine links. That's because the two schemes do not require investors to spend any meaningful time, period, in their countries. Is that correct?
Christian.
Hi, Francesco. Yes, that is in essence correct. It is of course related to residency requirements, which also need to be enforced in practice. So the Commission considers that the granting by these member states of the nationality and thereby EU citizenship in exchange for a predetermined payment or investment and without a genuine link with the member state concerned is not compatible with the principle of sincere cooperation enshrined in Article 4, paragraph 3 of the Treaty on European Union. This also undermines the integrity of the status of EU citizenship provided for in Article 20 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union.
Thank you. I think you had a follow-up or comment, Francesco. Go ahead. No.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Now I have the question. Thanks. Given that this is clear now, my question is why then you are not opening any infringement procedures against countries that have that sell visa, golden visa schemes, do not require any meaningful period in the country. In your report from last year, Portugal, Greece and Bulgaria are those countries, but also in the past we have had several other countries, including, for instance, Latvia, which was one of the pioneers of this, for instance, when Dombrovskis was Prime Minister, by the way, and that with implications that are still there, given that many of those people still have these visas. So why do you not open infringements also against countries for their golden visa schemes, given that in your own report you say that risks of money laundering and facilitation of organized crime are exactly the same for golden visa and passport and golden passport schemes? Thanks.
Christian.
Yes, Francesco. Well, of course, let's say as a baseline, of course, I can in general not comment on why we would not launch an infringement on a certain issue. That's always at the discretion of the Commission. And you're right that the residence schemes were also covered by the report in January 2019, and we also had some concerns about those. Nevertheless, let me also remind that of course we are talking legally about different issues. We are not talking about EU citizenship in the end, but we are talking about certain residency rights that can be granted by member states, and then are also, first of all, relevant in the first place only for the respective member state and not for the whole of the EU. But I wouldn't go now much more into detail on this, also given that residence is actually rather covered by Adalbert as it's an issue of Home Affairs.
Thank you. So we stay on the issue of rule of law for the moment. I still see some hands raised. Momshil, you have the floor.
Thank you. Published by the European Commission. According to this information, the Commission is also writing again to Bulgaria to highlight its concerns regarding an investor citizenship scheme operated by that member state. So could you explain what's the difference between the situation in Malta and Cyprus by one side and in Bulgaria in another? And if Bulgaria has, what is the progress made in Bulgaria from the previous letter?
Thank you very much. Christian, who has a full day today.
Yes. Hi, Momchil. Yes, indeed. The Commission is sending today also a political letter to the Bulgarian authorities about the scheme operated by Bulgaria. The letter is urging the Bulgarian authorities to phase out their citizenship scheme in the context of the ongoing legislative procedure currently in Bulgaria. We are also asking the Bulgarian authorities to provide the Commission with clear information about the scheme. Bulgaria has 1 month to reply, and the Commission will not hesitate to take the appropriate measures, also in this case, should our concerns not be addressed sufficiently.
Momshil, I see you have a follow-up. Go ahead.
Okay, but I asked also has Bulgaria made any progress since the previous letter of the European Commission? And if so, what in what this progress consists?
Look, as I think I repeated a few times already, it's always at the discretion of the Commission to decide at which stage to go to the stage of a formal infringement procedure. Also in the case of Malta and Cyprus, there was a long story ongoing before that, several exchanges of letters, political contacts. We had the report in January 2019. So the decision made at this stage, given all the information that was collected and given the exchanges so far and the situation in the respective member states, is the one that you see today. So for Bulgaria, there is now this letter that has been sent. There's a short deadline of 1 month to come back to the Commission on this, and then let's see what happens after that.
Thank you very much, Christian. I do not see any further hand raised on the issue of rule of law. So I open the floor to other issues.